Hello everyone, my name is Graveyard Daddy, and today we're going to be reviewing The Last of Us, Episode 1. The Last of Us starts by introducing the concept of viruses, vaccines, and cordyceps, to let the viewer know that if something were to happen, there is no cure for that which might come. And yes, these things do exist in real life, and while they pose no threat to us now, that doesn't mean they never will. There is a clear and present danger to everyone if it were to mutate, and initially, they don't take it seriously, but by the end, no one is laughing. Just as it will in the real world, the end of the world starts like any other ordinary day. We see the relationship between a father and daughter. She makes him pancakes for his birthday and tries to make sure that he drinks something that's healthy for him. And we also see the reality of most men, of having to work, even on your birthday. And very subtly, we hear about something happening on the other side of the world. And we're introduced to Tommy, a fuck-up younger brother who can't seem to get things right. She goes to school, then she goes to a repair shop to get her dad's watch fixed. But for some reason, there's a lot of police officers and firefighters going everywhere around the city. Something's happening, but we don't know what. The shop closes almost 4 hours earlier than it should. We then see the old lady creepily jittering behind her, signaling that we often focus on all the wrong things. While we're looking one way, something terrible is happening behind us. And as Joel and Sarah are having a sweet moment as father and daughter, he gets a call from his brother. He's in jail again, and he needs to get out. She wakes up to an emergency broadcast, and the dog is freaking the fuck out. And like a diligent young woman, she goes over to check on her neighbors to see how they're doing. And as she goes further into their house, she sees a trail of blood leading to Mr. Adler. Mr. Adler asks her for help, and then she sees the old Nan chowing down on Mrs. Adler. And then she chases after Sarah. Sarah runs out of the place. Luckily, Joel arrives just in time to save her. She runs at them and he smashes her head in and then gets the fuck out of there. But even though all of this is happening, Joel still cares about his neighbors. He, in the most adamant way possible, tells his neighbor to get the fuck in to try to make sure that she is safe in the best way that he can in as little time as possible. Joel is a good man with limited options. They then proceed to try to explain the situation to Sarah, to let her know what's going on and to try to reassure her. They tell her that it's mostly people in the cities, but Sarah is freaking out because she knows she was just in the city. How can they be sure that she isn't infected, that none of them are? The madness has started, and it doesn't intend to stop. They encounter a family in need, and Tommy fully intends to stop for them, but Joel tells him not to. They're in no position to save someone else when they haven't even saved themselves. And as they pass them, Sarah sheds a tear for the family that they're leaving behind. She doesn't understand her father's cruelty in this moment. And Sarah starts to see the truth behind it all, that there isn't anywhere to go, that nowhere is safe. They go through a riot and a mob, and a plane crashes behind them. They survive the shrapnel, but Sarah is hurt. And as she sees someone being eaten, they run for their lives, and just when they think they're safe, the ones who are supposed to save them shot them. Tommy manages to make it in time to save Joel, but while Joel was only grazed, his daughter took a mortal wound. Joel knows his daughter won't survive. The blood is too dark, and his heart breaks as his daughter dies in his arms. She never got to have that cake, and so Joel's promise became a lie. To a small boy 20 years later, this boy was born in this world of madness. He manages to make it to the quarantine zone, and as we see the signs of infection, coughing, slurred speech, muscle spasms, and mood changes, and depending on where you get infected, it takes longer to take hold. A woman cares for the child, and when she finds out he's infected, you can see the pain in her face before she quickly hides it and comforts the boy as he's injected. A woman can't bring herself to burn the boy, and Joel takes it on. Joel is willing to do things that others are not. He dumps the boy's body into the fire and looks for more work. And when he's given the choice between two jobs, he takes the shit. And reinforces that Joel will do anything to survive. We see people hurt by this world, soldiers constantly overhead, and even laces are sought after. And in this world, you are not free to go as you please. 3 people are executed for entering and leaving the area without permission. Joel deals with a guard, and the guard threatens to kill him, but Joel doesn't care and charges him the whole amount anyways. And then we meet Tess, beaten and bloody, but practical. She understands she's not in a good situation, and she would rather live and lie than die over a deal gone wrong. We see a burned vehicle, and we know that Joel was trying to make a deal for a vehicle. Is this the one that Joel was making a deal for? And after the explosion, she tries to clear out as the announcements indicate, and once again, she's beaten down. We see a girl chained to a room with tests being run on her, looking for symptoms of infection but showing none. And then we find out what Joel is up to. He enters a radio room for communication, and we found out that Tommy is missing. Joel wants to find his brother. He's warned about the dangers, but Joel doesn't care about any of that. He plots a course and drinks and takes pills to sleep. And as he falls asleep, we hear the cries of his daughter that night. Her death still haunts him, even 20 years later. The moment Joel sees Tess's wounds, he immediately jumps into action, and Tess tells Joel about what happened, and Tess tries to calm Joel down. They sold the battery they needed for the vehicle so they could find Tommy, and we learn that people capable of horrible things fear Joel. We meet Marlene and Kim, and we learn that Marlene is a leader of the Fireflies, a rebellion against the establishment, fighting for the rights of the people. They've been fighting since it started and have never succeeded. Marlene believes their movement can't win. Kim wants answers, and she explains that they've been leading Fedra away, and she hands Kim a piece of paper explaining who that little girl is. And we learn that whatever she is, she's worth more than their entire rebellion. So Joel and Tess make a plan to get their battery, and once again, we have a girl with a knife. It's been days since we arrived, and here she asks if she's going to turn, and they tell her that she won't, but that she can't leave either. That Marlene was the one who left her with Fedra for her own protection. She calls them terrorists, and we learn about a girl named Riley, a girl that Ellie refuses to call a terrorist. And Marlene tells Ellie the truth about herself and to tell no one under threat of death. We see the infected underground. We see what cordyceps are doing to humans. Once they can't hunt anymore, they get anchored and eaten away at and start to produce spores. She asks if it was infected here, and we learn that underground isn't any safer from the infected. Joel's past as a contractor means that he has knowledge of buildings that most people wouldn't. They use a hidden passage to access the building, and before they enter, there is a stench of death and gunpowder. Robert and the battery lie dead in that hallway. His greed got him killed. Marlene and Kim survived, although wounded, and we learned that the Fireflies were the ones who bought the battery. They are desperate to get Ellie out of there, and they're willing to do anything. As Joel points his gun at Ellie, she is terrified of him, and so is Marlene and Kim. They imply the battery in their hands would save many more lives than just Tommy, and we learn why Joel hates the Fireflies. The Fireflies took Joel's brother away from him. Marlene asks Joel to take Ellie. Kim doesn't trust him, but with an ear missing, she's got no room to argue. Marlene promises them everything in order to get Joel to take Ellie, and she believes Joel can do this. She knows he's capable of horrible things. They don't trust each other, but desperate times call for desperate measures. Marlene to get Ellie to their base, and Joel to save his brother Tommy. But Tess promises her that if they don't keep their word, they will kill Ellie. And we see the desperation in her eyes. They use the rain as cover to get Ellie out of there. And while Joel and Tess plan, Ellie overhears them. She finds Joel's radio book and the musical code. 60s meaning nothing new, 70s for new stock, and 80s for danger. Ellie has never been outside of those walls, and she reflects on the darkness of the outside world. We learn that it's been a year since Joel made an excursion like this, and Ellie is afraid and looks for reassurance. But all Joel can muster is a...
Yeah.
Joel wants to know why Ellie is important, but she doesn't want to say, and we hear a song played on the radio as he slept. An 80s song, meaning Bill and Frank are in danger. We see soldiers everywhere policing the streets as they try to make their escape. Ellie almost gets caught immediately, and they keep sneaking, avoiding the spotlights and the helicopter. A pissing soldier finds them, and we see that it's the same man that Joel dealt with before. He warned Joel not to do this, and now they're in a desperate situation trying to make a deal for their lives. He starts to check them for infection, and as he checks Ellie, she stabs him. Joel stands in between them, and he hesitates to shoot his dealer. This man has been stabbed, and he wants blood. And once again, Joel is brought back to 20 years ago, him trying to protect a little girl from a soldier that's supposed to protect them, and he loses his mind.
We can fix this. Move. Move.
He savagely attacks him and beats the man to death as Ellie watches from behind him. She's now got an answer to what he's capable of. They see that she's infected, but before she can explain, they need to get away. Joel takes the guard's gun and heads out behind them. So at the end of the first episode, we are left with a better understanding of how dangerous Joel is, a girl who should be dead, and an 80s song that signals the danger ahead. In conclusion, the first episode of The Last of Us shows us the world before the disaster caused by the cordyceps. It shows us Joel's knowledge of passages and buildings. We see that ever since it started, Joel's been willing to abandon others to save his family, that he knows others outside of the quarantine zone. It shows us how Joel came to be the person he is now by losing that which was most precious to him. He carries the broken watch that his daughter had fixed, and is willing to face any danger to save his family. Joel cares about the people close to him more than anything else, even his own safety. Joel is the emotional heart of the show. We see how Fedra, a police state, has arisen and taken power, that even the most basic supplies are valuable. Basic freedoms to leave and enter are stripped from the people, and orphans are made into zealous soldiers. It shows us how dangerous the infection is, and how even children are culled to remove it. It introduces the Fireflies, a resistance group fighting Fedra, however unsuccessfully. It introduces the relationship between Marlene and Ellie and Riley, and why Joel hates the Fireflies. We learn that while Ellie is infected, she's somehow not sick. It shows us how people born after the disaster are, and even reflects on how a police state is better than the outside world. It alludes to the danger beyond and shows us the monsters that we face inside and out. So what do you think? Was Joel wrong to abandon others to save his family? If you had to deal with a situation like this, where would you draw the line? I'd love to know your thoughts on this, but with that said, my name's Graveyard Daddy, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.